Hello, it's Bradley Sanders here with Gulf Coast Kids House, and I'm sitting here with Leslie Donovan, who is one of our prevention specialists, and we're going to sit down and talk to you about some parenting tips today. So Leslie, as a parent yourself, and you are also the influence at Gulf Coast Kids House with our social media, with influencing our parents on just different arrangement of topics. As we're all going through COVID-19 right now, what are some things that parents are dealing with? What are some things that they can help with right now?
Well, there is a lot going on, obviously. Boundaries have changed for families where everything's all at home. Everything's done all at once with maybe a spouse working at home or kids trying to do school, which is very, very difficult to do if you're not a teacher. And so one of the things that we often tell kids when we speak to them in the schools is we use a phrase called check yourself before you wreck yourself. Mm-hmm. And when we talk to the students, that's typically related to online behavior. But I think when I start thinking about how I am at home, I realize that I'm not sleeping that great, and I'm sure a lot of other parents aren't. And so it's important to check yourself every day when you wake up. And if you wake up and you haven't slept well, you might want to communicate with your kids and say, listen, I had a bad night sleeping. Can you help out around the house? Give me some time alone. It's really important to have a timeout for you. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not always for the children, it's for you. And so if your neighborhood is safe to walk in, it's probably a good idea to take a 20-minute walk. Take a bath for 20 minutes. Just make sure you have your time out for you. But then it's so, so important to realize that social isolation or social distancing is not social isolation. Mm-hmm. And that when you're done kind of checking yourself, before you lose it, mm-hmm. That you connect with your kids again and mm-hmm. get back in there. And one fun way to connect that my kids love, you know, all the way up from when they were little to high school, is freeze dance, mm-hmm. where everyone can pick a song and then you dance around the house and someone has the job to press pause. Uh-huh. And then everybody freezes. And so the kids love that. And then everyone can pick a different song and different people can be the one that presses it. And what you're also teaching kids how to do is calm down, mm-hmm. how to self-regulate, and you have connected with them. And that is really probably the most important thing, is they need you. And you can't be there unless you've taken care of yourself first.
That's some awesome information right there. Speaking of games right there, do you have any other games possibly for the younger kids?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so one game that we have talked to parents about when we go out and speak is a game called What If? Mm-hmm. And so it's important to find pockets of time and not long periods of time to lecture your children about safety, but to find moments, mm-hmm. all right? So first with the What If game, you might be driving in the car, or you're cooking dinner, or you're putting them to bed, and you might say something, you make it fun, you mix it with fun, like, what if you could be the president, what would you do? Mm-hmm. What if you could be a flavor of ice cream, what would you be? What if we get separated, we're at Target, and we get separated from each other, what should you do? Mm-hmm. And you let the child process that, mm-hmm. and answer the question, because if they can come up with the answer of what they would do, they're more empowered to actually do it. Mm-hmm. But if they're having trouble, then you can kind of talk them through it. Mm-hmm. And I want to give you an example that we do in the schools. Mm-hmm. And one is children go to Target, Walmart, Best Buy, places like that. And sometimes their parents will leave them in the toy aisle or the video game aisle, or sometimes they'll just get separated. And when a child looks up and realizes, where's my mom or dad, or even if they went with an older brother or sister, mm-hmm. they might begin to panic. And so the safest thing to do is to stay where they are. We tell them never to leave, but this might be the time in their life that they do have to talk to a stranger. So we teach them what a safe stranger mm-hmm. looks like. And that would be someone with a uniform, maybe the security guard at the store. If a police officer or fireman is in there, they would want to look for that person. The next safest person is an employee. So at Target, it's a red shirt. Walmart, I think it's the blue vest. Mm-hmm. And so they look for an employee and tell them their name and stay where they are, and then let that person go get the help. They also might have to find a parent with other children. That's the next safest stranger. And they can tell that mom with multiple kids, I can't find my mom, can you help me? But again, stay where they are, and then other people will go get help. Plus, sometimes the parents will come back and look for them. So if they're walking all over the store, that's very unsafe. So you can give a lot of examples like that in the what if game, but mix it with fun.
Yeah, that's an awesome game right there. I enjoy that. Speaking of, since we just talked about little kids, let's talk about those teenagers some, because we know this could be a tricky time with parents and teenagers being underneath the same roof, and there's usually some tension. What can parents do with their teens right now to help out?
Yeah. So obviously, just like we said at the beginning, boundaries have really changed. Kids have had probably a lot more independence than they do right now, because they're often under one roof and they're wanting to get out and be with their friends and connect. And again, social distancing does not mean social isolation. So I know with my kids, I've given them a lot more freedom with the video games or with Snapchat or whatever they're doing with their friends. Just making sure that they can communicate with them and have that time. And then of course balance that with what they have to do with school, So one thing that we need when everybody is home in the household is everybody to help.
Yeah.
And my kids used to always tell me when I'm at school, that's my job, Mom. Well, they are still at school, but they're at home, and more people are at home, because even some of us have college kids at home like me.
Yes.
And so the best thing for a parent to do is to lay out the expectations very clearly, even if we haven't done it yet. Now summer's about to come, so we want to make sure that everyone knows what the rules are. So what a parent should do is be pretty brief and say, on Tuesday I need you to do the laundry, on Thursday I need you to empty the dishwasher by such and such a time. I've learned that you have to say a time, or it'll be 9 o'clock that night that they finish it. But if you tell them by a certain time, here's the consequence if you don't do it, and here's the reward, and then follow through. And so the reward might be more time on those things that they really want to do, to connect with their friends online.
Gotcha.
It's also really important not to continuously remind kids about what to do. One of the biggest things that my kids have taught me is sometimes they'll be motivated to come down the stairs and empty out the dishwasher. And then if they walk by me and I go, don't forget to empty out the dishwasher, and they're like, ugh, I don't want to do it anymore, because now it's a job and a chore, and they're unmotivated.
Yeah.
So we have to give the kids, the teens in particular, some space.
Yes. Space is very important during this time.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we talked about before this our different programs and resources that we use at Kids House. Is there any type of online resources that parents and families can be using right now during this time?
Yes, well the first I think that I would send people to is our Facebook page, because we are continuously putting up different articles that have been vetted with very good organizations that have all kinds of tips. Some are for single parents, some are for mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
And we also have to think about pediatric mental health. A lot of times we never talk about that, and that's really all about connection, connecting with your kids, looking at them, face to face. And so all of those things often are found on our Facebook page, and then from there you can click on links to other things. So the two organizations that we primarily work with are Monique Burr Foundation, which is out of Jacksonville, Florida. That is the program that we teach in the schools called Child Safety Matters and Teen Safety Matters. And we go over the 5 safety rules, and those can be used in all kinds of safety situations. And then we have the Darkness to Light Foundation, which is more of the adult education.
Gotcha.
And so they have some great resources, but all the other resources can be found on our Facebook page.
Awesome. Well, Leslie, thank you for meeting with us today. And again, if you want to check out more information, go to our Facebook page or go to our website. Thank you.